This is the best version of Dust2. No wait, this is. Or maybe this one is. But what about this one? Surely this one is the best, with this scaffolding in the way of everything. Okay, this one is definitely the worst, but that begs the question. What makes a version of Dust2 good and another version bad? Surely they can't be that different from each other. Firstly, I put out a poll on YouTube asking you guys, what is the best version of Dust2 ever? And it seems that half of you think that the 1.6 version of Dust2 is the best version. So that's 1 point to 1.6 for fans' choice. Speaking of the 1.6 version of Dust2, this is the 1.6 version of Dust2. It's exactly how we all remember it, basic and blocky. But the hole in the wall next to B doors is extremely annoying in my opinion, and it really slows down a game that otherwise has decently satisfying movement. Needing to crouch walk through it really slows you down, and will punish you for attempting to pick off an enemy from here, which definitely doesn't help the fact that old Dust2 is usually a very T-sided affair. When we take a look at that wall again in Condition 0, we find that it is visually more appealing, but it's unfortunately just as annoying. Counter-Strike Source, on the other hand, finally showed players what a wall without needing to crouch walk through would be like. And the answer is almost good. While it is possible to walk through here with some speed now, if you are trying to get into the bomb site, you must jump. And to get out of the bomb site, if you don't walk perfectly into this gap, you get stuck on the ramp, and if you slide back and forward, you will never get into the hole. This is further proof that there is such a thing as being too lubed up. Then, Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out and blew the competition away. Suddenly, the entry here is silky smooth, and this change has been brought forward into CS2. So when it comes to the hole in the wall, the original CSGO and current CS2 versions are the winners here. Then there's Xbox. In 1.6, you can only jump down from catwalk onto it. Even if you were to get a boost onto it, you can't jump back up to cat. Xbox in Condition 0 looks a lot better, but it functions exactly the same. In Counter-Strike Source, you can jump onto Xbox alone as you run down mid, but you still can't simply jump back up onto cat. In 2013's Counter-Strike Global Offensive Dust2, you can jump onto Xbox, and finally you can jump onto cat from Xbox, which allows for much faster rotations. But the current version of Counter-Strike 2's Dust2 is once again the winner here. Not only have they simplified the jump onto Xbox by placing this silly little pallet here to help players who are not smart enough to do a running crouch jump onto the box, but there's also this part here that is super easy to crouch jump onto when running at the Xbox from lower tunnels, making it once again super easy to get onto cat and rotate quickly if need be. In my opinion, there's absolutely no question that in this part of the map, Counter-Strike 2 wins by far. How about Bombsite B? Well, in 1.6, you can't jump up onto the platform from here, which really locks you into a bad spot. And of course, this geometry is the same as always with Condition 0. In Counter-Strike Source, we finally can jump up onto the platform, but it does have these stupid physics prop barrels which you can walk into and get pushed around if you aren't careful. And once again, Counter-Strike Global Offensive in 2013 has kept the improvement, but removes the awful moving barrels and replaces them with static barrels, which gives us a good bit of cover, but doesn't annoy me anywhere near as much. Once again, Counter-Strike 2 is almost identical to how Counter-Strike Global Offensive plays out, so in this case, both Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Counter-Strike 2 both win the point here. Bombsite A is another interesting one to look at. In 1.6, there's a big box here that blocks the view of the bomb site from short, which in my opinion made the bomb site a little bit easier to hold compared to how it is now. The box was also present in the Condition 0 version of the map, however, while this version has some amazing textures, it also has some not so amazing props that get in the way more than anything else. It also doesn't have the goose graffiti that's here, so that's another negative. In Counter-Strike Source, the market from Condition 0 is gone, but so is the big box to give you the extra cover on the bomb site. The goose graffiti is still gone, and even worse, These barrels can easily be used to hide the bomb once it's planted. A bombsite in Source gets an F rating as far as I'm concerned, which isn't good considering that the CSGO 2013 version is based on the Source version. Once again, the big box is nowhere to be seen, and the goose graffiti is still not here. Currently in Counter-Strike 2, we can plant for short on these side of the boxes. And while I know this was technically added to an old CSGO version of this map somewhere along the lines, I don't consider that to be the authentic old version. We also have an improved goose graffiti. One might even consider this graffiti better than the original one. However, it still doesn't have the extra cover on the bomb site of the big box, so this round goes to 1.6. The last thing that I want to compare is this lovely little alleyway here that we lovingly call Suicide. In 1.6, you can see that it is almost impossible to watch mid-doors from T-spawn and vice versa. However, there is this tiny gap here that you can actually use to keep an eye on T-spawn to see if someone's trying to rotate. But you need to be careful because they could also keep an eye on you and see if you are trying to rotate. Once again, the geometry of these areas are the same in condition 0, so the area plays exactly the same, just once again with little bits of different textures. Then we move on to Counter-Strike Source. Someone decided to remove the cover entirely and allow the Ts even more freedom to watch the CTs cross at the start of every single round. Unfortunately, this also returned in Global Offensive, which resulted in the infamous CSGO Major Final with Fnatic using 4 AWPs to watch from T-spawn. In Counter-Strike 2, modern players and weapons are far more punishing, so Valve have opted to completely close up the sightline from T-spawn through to CT mid. Now, a CT in theory running to B at the start of the round should have little to no trouble getting there to defend unless somehow a T is running through Suicide really quickly. If I'm completely honest, this is probably the hardest point to give out. But in this case, I think I'm going to have to give it to Counter-Strike 2 again, purely from a balance standpoint. That leaves us with a controversial winner. But today's winner is Counter-Strike 2's current Dust2. Who knew that over 2 decades of iterations on a map would eventually lead to what can easily be considered the greatest map layout of all time? Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments which version is your favorite. Remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And as always, take care.